Alright, welcome back everybody. So, I kind of did a tiny bit of playing off stream to get back to where we were supposed to be. I have the same character build as before. We did pretty much all the same actions as before, except that I don't have the puppet from the isotope mine. I do have a bit of bad news to share though. We got the blue rot again, but I'm betting either A, there's an item inside the tribe that has a chance of curing us of the plague, and B, I think we can finish the game fast enough that we won't have to die from the rot, or even run the chance. And even if we do have a chance, scavenged a bit of a pills bottles of amoxicillin, which I hope is not penicillin, which I hope is maybe antibiotics. And if none of that works, then you won't even be able to see this, so doesn't really matter. I think whenever you go to the Saginaw Mental Institution, that's whenever you catch the super plague. And I don't think this is where you're supposed to find the cure for the plague. I think somewhere around this place, in this corner, there's the cure for the plague, where you're supposed to go get right after you get in there. Anyway, also my character has been exposed to defoliants, so he vomits and coughs and whatever. That's not really important. What's important is I think I found the tribe's location. It will be this forest right here, this giant forest. Let's see if I'm right. Oh, the forest here has eyes. More than a few times now, you could swear you've seen something in the periphery when you never do catch it, but it's there. You're in a forest and something is watching you. You're almost certain of it. Scan the area. Check the local flora for clues. You stoop to the ground and look at some of the plants here. If this is a creature's natural habitat, maybe there'll be clues. At first, you see the little that catches your eye. You can't see anything to distinguish this forest from the last. But then you notice it. Something has pruned some of the fruit-bearing plants here. It's subtle, but you almost dismissed it as critter activity. However, something deliberately and completely stripped these plants for anything edible. Okay. Scan the area. You stop moving and start looking carefully into the endless foliage. Your eyes dart from one space to another. Okay, excuse me, I'm gonna let the dog out. Alright. You see nothing unusual, however, and a fleeting image at the edge of your vision, whatever they were, seemed to be either gone or invisibly waiting for your next move. Well, continue. Whatever this thing can go stuff itself, you're going in. Plodding onward, all seems still again. You begin to wonder if what you saw was your mind playing tricks on you. Or maybe you passed into and then out of the creature's territory. Your thoughts are interrupted when you notice something away off to your side. It's humanoid in shape and wearing clothes, but it also has a face as white as plaster, with raccoon-like blackness where its eyes should be. It's staring right at you, and it makes your neck chill. Hide. You slip sideways, putting a thick tree between you and it, then dug down below some undergrowth. Immediately you begin crawling in an unexpected direction. Damn it, doggy. Whipping leaves and footfalls approach rapidly, and something collides with you in the dirt. It has you. You can feel its grip on your arms, its weight on your back. With expert skill, it pins you and begins choking you out. Your vision stints red, then gets spotty, and then you're examining plants in the field. It's raining. It was the squirrel facility, and maybe you forgot your head is throbbing, and your neck's sore too. Your head is lolling from being suspended from wrist and ankle bindings. You're being carried. You can't see anything but the sound of the forest are clear. Whatever's carrying you makes no sound though. Like really no sound. This can't be good. Minutes of silent traveling later, you begin to hear sounds. Not forest sounds, but people sounds. Tools being worked, a crack from a fire. The voices startle you from your strained listening. Your captors are talking, but not in English, not in anything you recognize. One of them calls out, and a distant voice responds. It sounds like you're entering a camp of some kind. You smell wood burning. Your arrival causes stir, and you stop moving for a moment. More talking. You're turned in place a bit, and then taken away from the heart of the flame for a while. Finally, your journey stops. Your bindings and blindfold removed. As the blurriness clears, you see that you're in a village. The dome-like buildings surround a great fire, with equal parts animal hides and repurposed junk for walls and shelter. Around the village, a mix of regular folk and chalk-faced warriors go about their business. Many are more than casually interested in your arrival. You're taken to a meeting area near the great fire. In front of you, a portly, middle-aged woman stands by one of the warriors. Her jacket is one of the color of the sunset, against which is silhouetted a majestic grey crane. Hey man, she says. Pretty crazy gig we got there, right? She looks around as if arriving here with you for the first time. Oh. She reaches a hand forward. Michelle, I usually get roped into talking to foreigners. So it comes with a badge. She points her thumb at the crane. Haji Jack could do them. Come on. She turns towards the village. Let's walk. A small entourage in tow, you walk idly towards the fire. I gotta ask, you know if Philip? She's being careful not to telegraph too much, but you can tell this is the big thing on her mind. I'm gonna go with yes. That's me. My name's Philip Kindred, you reply. Does that count? I knew it. She pumps her fist, like she just won a bet. Old Ghostface Miss Stabberson back here had you figured out for a grave robber. A grave robber? What's with Ghostface? Ghostface, you ask? Oh, him? Nah, he's alright. You'd have to be pretty bad for him to slit your throat. I see. It's the talisman, she points to your bauble. We get a few looters stealing artifacts like that. Pisses him right off. Lucky for you, though, I know you. She does? You know me? So, wait, you interrupt. You know me? Yeah, well, no, not personally. Here, she turns you towards a hut. Warm light spills from within and she draws back a flap to reveal a mixture of handmade and recycled furnishings. Michelle reaches over a cluttered desk and pulls a frame down from amidst the dried roots, photos and other mementos on the wall. She hands the frame to you. You hold the frame up, examining the yellowed photograph. It appears to be a newspaper clipping, done in that old small-town print where the colors don't line up. It's you, or at least someone who looks like you. You've been here before, she says, looking over your shoulder. And check out the talisman. You look incredulously at her for a moment, then close at the photo. Sure enough, you're wearing the talisman. The photo's caption reads, Local website editor rekindles interest in native history. You flip the frame over, looking for more, but there's only one thing scrambled on the back. September 2019. Michelle asks a question. My turn, she says. Where have you been hiding since this? She holds up the photo. And more importantly, how come you don't look any older? Tell her about it. It's fine. We already told Stoat, so should be fine. Ever heard of Gyga's cryo facility? Might as well cut to the chase. I guess that's explained a few things, she ponders. Unfortunately, you continue. I can't tell you much more than that. I can't remember anything before coming out of cryo. It's like hibernation wiped my memory. She still looks deep in thought. So, what is the talisman? So wait, do you know anything about the talisman? This is getting more complicated, not less. Know anything about it? My man, we made it for you. Then she adds, well, sort of. Oh, this is good. She seems delighted at your confusion. Let me explain, she begins, faking bad English. It's a protective talisman. Some ancestor carried pieces of copper for both luck and protection. This one, you brought to us. My father said you were hiding from a spirit and that you needed protection from it. The symbol isn't ours, I don't recognize it, and I'm not sure where you got it. But my father asked the Midwini of Nukidudim, you call the medicine man, to give this talisman power to protect you. The spirit wouldn't harm you while it was on. It was a powerful ritual. It's one of the events my father recounted on several occasions. That thing was a big deal around here. So how long ago was this? Let's see how many years have passed. How long ago was this taken? What year is it now? Michelle looks over the features of your face a moment. Yeah, I figured you might ask something like that. You hardly look a day older. She turns the frame back over. You see that guy? That guy there? She indicates a young man, maybe in his 20s or 30s. That was my dad. He had time to raise me, grow old and pass on since then. She's probably in her 40s. That makes what, 50 years ago? Ish? Says in your confusion, she shouts, psh, yeah. Wild, huh? Wow, in 2060s, huh? So a spirit was after me? You say spirit? Hey man, your words, not mine. My father said you were talking about something hunting you. For what? What did I do? Don't ask me. I don't even know if you told my father. Well then, what was the spirit? My father probably could have told you. He had some very specific instructions, and not all of them were germane to us, if you get my drift. Germane? What do you mean, like foreign? Yeah, this thing we were running from, it wasn't ripped from the pages of our history. Okay, we're back. Excuse me, but the computer kind of crashed. So let me just pick up where we left off. I did all the same choices as before, no worries about that. This thing you're running from wasn't ripped from the page of our history. Suspects are like that, not everyone sees them the same. Can you help me get rid of it? Probably not. I'm even sure the people could do it. You mean the Anishinaabe? Anishinaabe. Anishinaabe. I think I got it. Yeah, sorry. That's just our word for the people. Anishinaabe. Actually, for plural. Anyway, she hurries to ahead. There's a spirit for someplace else. Okay, how do I get rid of it? So what now? Suppose I want to get rid of this thing chasing me. Because, you know, I do. What next? Well, she ponders, somehow you got his attention, right? I mean, something made you seek us out when you did, and not before. You're taking whatever that was my... Wait. Somehow you got its attention, right? I mean, something made you seek us out when you did, and not before. Yeah, okay. You're taking whatever that was might be a clue? Totally. She takes a minute more. You did come to us after your work on that website. The New Earth Ostracon thing. Neo? Well, that sounds like a made... I'm gonna be honest, that sounds like a made up... Like something you make up for an acronym you don't actually understand. So spirits don't like the internet? Think about it for a sec. You had to knock on a fair number of doors to get info, right? Probably disturb more than one spirit digging up that data. So you muse sarcastically. We've narrowed it down to any paranormal occurrence listed on the website, trying to list every single one in history. Yeah, now you're getting it. You shake your head. Seriously though, she holds up a binder. We printed off a section, and this place ain't exactly high-tech, you know. I'm thinking there's gotta be a more complete copy out there somewhere. You mean like the cyber cafe down the block? Geez man, stop being such a downer. Sorry, you say more calmly. Optimism's a lot to work these days. So is being mopey all the time. It's out there, she says. Has to be. I mean, this data was on everyone's computer at one point, right? At least everyone who contributed to it. That's true. It can be wiped out from everywhere, she reasons, and if it is, then you're screwed, Phillips. That brings a smile to your face. Well, at least we agree on that. Come on, she says. Let me show you around. She starts heading towards the Great Fire. You're sitting in the Anishinaabe tribal nation's gathering area by the Great Fire. Around you, you see an area where people are sharing a meal together, and a trader of goods. Further away, you see a cluster of huts near a sweat lodge, where Joe the Nook Midewini tends to the sick and wounded. I'm sick and wounded. Go visit Joe. Joe, I have the plague. You head towards a cluster of tents near the edge of a camp, by the forest. Patients resides here, helping to tend the area, many of whom are rehabilitated from drug addiction and other conditions. Warriors are more visible here, keeping the peace in an area where frustration and desperation can overcome the healing. Ahead is an oblong dome hut, from which steam emanates in the cool air. A man adorned in bear symbology seems to be preparing the hut. This is Joe, Midewini of the Nuke Dudem. Ask Joe to treat illness, please. In Anishinaabe medicine, most of the focus is on purifying the body and spirit. The role of heat, smoke, and steam is to infuse the patient with spiritual energy, believed to be symbolized when smoke and steam emanates from sacred items. In the sweat lodge, Joe conjures the spiritual energy, the spirit of earth, by pouring water on heated stones. The steam and burning sage fills the room and your lungs, replacing negative energies with positive. Okay, maybe he's gonna be healing my defoliant exposure, not my actual plague. I chewed on some bear root. I received sweat lodge treatment. I drank some tannin tea. I think you can do that in the game too. You can make that kind of tea. I don't remember how though. There's an indirect science to the medicine as well. Having observed the animal's world interaction with nature, certain plants and animals have been singled out for their healing properties. Bear root boiled in water to extract the medicine can have restorative effects. I think there's a percentage chance that these things cure me. Some have even reported illnesses waning under its effects. I seem to be only in pain, but not sick right now. Chewing on the root and sipping the tannin tea, your body gains a newfound energy for combating illness. You thank Joe for this time and his help, and then leave the lodge. Okay. Let's go... Can I sit down for a meal? You approach the long table to find an open place on the bench. I had a hearty meal. The food here is plentiful and appears to be a mix of roasted and dried meats. Roasted corn or maize, baked squash and beans. There's also an assortment of berries and other fruit. Overall, the meal is hearty, with diverse flavors of savory and sweet. It fills your stomach briefly, allowing your mind to wander from minute to minute survival. The feeling here is one of sharing and respect. Visitors to the table are asked to pay respect to the animals that gave their meat. The three sisters for the fruit. The three sisters, that's a thing I've learned in history class. It refers to what we just saw, maize, beans, and peas. The maize grows up, the peas sprout around the maize, and the peas at the roots, the old strengthen itself, whatever, something like that. In the distance, you see the fields of crops, but also semi-trailers, sheets of tarp over frames, and other repurposed grow ops for their food. Beginning to understand the real sense of urgency that perimeter's patrols must feel in watching over this place. The fine line they walk in keeping rebels come out, but allowing peaceful travelers passage. Alright. Let's go to the trading post. The trading post seems to be a place where travelers resupply offload items, which may be of use to the Anishinaabe. A large portion of the inventory appears to be handmade items from local material, and some scavenged goods. There's an Anishinaabe bow, a multi-tool, a tarp, some spoiled meat, some tea, hardened spear, a war club. I think my spear is gonna be fine. A birch bag, that goes around your hip like the duffel bag, but it's lighter. Would I like to trade that in? Let's trade that in. Boop. Inside this I can put like, I don't know. I can put, what can I put in there? My sleeping bag, I guess. Ouch. I'm kind of getting a bit overburdened, so hopefully this is gonna help us. Also, what is the percentage? Is that 40%? Is that 100%? Yep, only 20 bucks. I can afford that. Boop. Yes, you see, I packed up by buying a whole bunch of food at the supermarket before we were expelled from Detroit this time around. Sell the duffel bag. Buy the soft birch bag. Boom. We're still burdened though. Damn it. Didn't really help. We're still burdened. Let me do some Jenga, some Tetris with all my stuff. Ugh. Nah, I should do it. I think. Maybe. Sure. Anything else I want? A smudge stick. I think that's useful for some encounters. Bear root. Maybe I get some more. Yeah, the blue rot wasn't cured, so I'll see if I can keep chewing on it. That should do it. Okay, now let's leave. Leave the village. You set off to the lands beyond. So from here to the internet claim, we're gonna make a beeline to the Camp Grayling. But first, let's take off the amulet and kill the Murgaraith. Because we have elusive, it means we have the fatal trap technique. Bronze talisman. Boop. Let's skip a turn. There's a sudden roar, and a rush of dry air as blinding blue-white light bathes the area. Formless darkness begins to appear from within, and soon it emerges an impenetrably black silhouette, endlessly casting out fragments of itself. Orange burns frame its center, pierced by the scattering fragments of black. It's already moving by the time you can resolve its shape, and its crude, chalk-white face is fixed on you. Oddly, something strikes you as familiar about this thing, like you've seen that fragmenting pattern before. Hatters? Is it the thing in the security footage Hatters showed you? As it starts closing the gap towards you, your mind snaps back to the present. Okay, so if it reaches you, you get instantly killed. But, because I have a broad spear, we should be able to get next to it and use a lethal trap to instantly kill it. Because of the power of elusive. Exploit weakness. Maybe that could help. We're both advancing at one square at a time towards each other. I can just disappear from the fight. But what will help really... Oh, fallen. That's really bad. We have to not fall. Ever. There's no wait. As he approaches. From 2 squares away. Nah, 3 squares away in case we fall. I'm gonna wait. It says an exposed weakness. I can try to bonk him with the spear. Might as well. He has super healing, so you have to kill him in one shot if you want this to work. I missed. Well, time to run away. And I've fallen. Get up. Run away. Keep running away. And I've fallen. Get up. Give him the bonk. I've missed. Okay, run away. Bonk him. I got him in the right arm. That's not gonna do much. Keep falling back. Bonk him. I got him in the lower chest. I think if we get in the head, we have a chance of instantly killing him. Let me run. Okay, fall back. Wait a bit. Bonk him. What's the condition of my spear? I don't know. Anyway, I missed. Fall back. Fall back hard. Bonk. Oh, it's unconscious. Well, that's... Where did I get it? Right arm. Severe pain. It's fell to the ground. Kill it. The wraith crumbles to the ground, its face disappearing as it collapses into a lightless pool. Patches of black continue to fly off the shape, like ash from a fire. Then a flash of blue radiates from beneath, and the blackness starts drawing into itself, leaving no residue behind. At first, it simply becomes smaller, as if pulled into some nothingness, but as the edges recede, it becomes clear that it's falling to some sort of portal on the ground. Jump in! You step forward and allow your weight to drop onto the hole. And land firmly on the step. Despite your expectations, to the contrary, you feel only a temperature gradient for where the portal intersects with your body. It feels like entering a museum from outdoors. Inside, you're surrounded by a small chamber, cluttered with items and shelves and work surfaces. It's warm here, and smells of desert and stone. Bleh. Light spills in from a large opening and on one wall, and you're nearly staggered from the view. A vast open space lies beyond, filled with columns of impossible height. Far below, dozens, maybe hundreds of figures dot the floor. Some are interacting with strange pools of light, others crossing the floor or entering doorways at the base of the columns. Look closely, climb back, look at the figures, examine items around the room. The room resembles an arcane study. Shelves are stuffed with artifacts from ancient to modern, and some completely alien to your eyes. There's also organic samples, possibly mummified or preserved trophies. It looks like one part evidence locker, one part wizard's laboratory. You take note of some of the more recognizable items. A sheaf of letters. A sheaf of letter from Ambrose Bierce cataloging creatures and documents that lack any rational explanation. More interestingly, the letters appear to be part of a series trying to draw connections between the events of participants. The series stops abruptly, however, before any conclusion is made. I can pick that up. This is my page from the Blue Frog book. I think I can put it down. Sheaf of letter from Ambrose Bierce cataloging creatures and occurrences which lacks a rational explanation. I don't think that's useful, so I'm going to leave that here for now. Next. The sheaf of old papers. Is that different? IK Opus Postum. You don't speak German, so this document is largely opaque to you. It appears to be excerpt of larger work. Sections are missing. I can pick up every single one of these instances. The children's book. What if I try something else? The film canister, the clay stone and engravings. A book written in an unfamiliar language, but illustrated in a manner suggesting it was for children. Imagery seems to be of children fabricating a world of their own imagination. The more friends they involve, the more elaborate the world becomes. Okay. The film canister? No, the tablet. The clay and stone engravings. Fragments of clay with some sort of cuneiform engravings. There's even a small, faceted pillar with writing on each side. They're interesting to look at, but reveal little to your modern eyes. The film canister. A 60mm film spool in a canister, labeled Woodhouse Moor Lodges, Louis le Prince. The footage seems rather mundane to you as you examine the individual frames against the light. Mostly a fascination with capturing passing carts, horses, and people. A shot of fear runs through when you notice a disembodied white mask staring at the camera from one of the lodge's windows. Ew. The large ring with a projection inside. A ring of polished stone or metal stands at one of the work surfaces, with lines of text projected in its center. As you look closely, the image seems to shift, resolving so you can read. It's in English. It looks to be a website of all things. Probably cached from before the crash. It's entitled New Earth Ostrakon, and it appears to be a collection of cross-referenced, unexplained occurrences. The entries are not only descriptive, but include links and captures of references in other media, search trends, related entries, and maps of where and when known references ever discovered. It seems to care as much about propagation of the idea as the subject itself. Hacking. Desiring to more context, you begin looking for navigation controls. There don't appear to be any, however. You recall the image shifted when you look closer, and a thought occurs to you. Craning your neck, you try to look around the object in the screen. As you picture what might be beyond it, it actually moves correspondingly to the side, but there's only a blank surface there. Turning a different tack, you imagine stepping back for a bigger picture. The text views recedes, revealing that the website is part of a chamber rendered in the ring's view. That's interesting, sort of like a thought-driven memory palace as an OS. As you look around the virtual space, you notice a figure and other images on the vertical surfaces. Each feature you notice, however, causes your stomach to sink a bit more. A life-size replica of you stands in the room, staring blankly ahead. Your talisman is in the plain view. Dozens of nearly identical images of you line one wall, apparently taken on different days when you were in stasis. Even maps which seem to plot your movements. Your exploration is cut short when sounds arise from outside the chamber. You turn in time to see two figures, each wearing intricate masks, raising some sort of device with a nozzle. Billowing blackness pours out, threatening to inundate the room in seconds. You mount the stairs and push your way up as quickly as you can. Your head breaches the portal back into Michigan's cold air, and you turn to assess whether you're being followed. Instead, the gateway shrinks like an old tube television being turned off, returning to area to its original topology. Even after closing, your mind is distrustful of the ground where you saw it. You decide to keep it in view as you leave, and only turn away when it's out of sight. Wow, that's a whole bunch of stuff. I don't think any of this is gonna fit in my pack, however. Anyway, I'm gonna make a beeline for the camp. If I die on the way, then you guys are just gonna you're gonna see a big cut. If I don't die, you're gonna see a small cut. Anyway, you're gonna see a cut. See you there. Okay, so I'm ready to the camp. My character is moved on to the stage 3 of the super plague, but I think we're gonna be fine. So we're gonna have to do a couple of things first before we enter the camp. I mean, only really one thing. I'm gonna put on my inventory screen, get the foil. Wait, I need some more movement point. He's hungry. It's fine. I'm out of food. I ate all the food. As long as we don't die, we should be fine. He's sick and getting worse. Oh well. If we finish the game before he dies, that's gonna be good. Oil poncho. We can't be having this put on ourselves for too long. Otherwise it's gonna disintegrate. So let's just have it in our hands for now. And move on. To the camp. Then one more turn. Don't die. No! The patchwork poncho was already falling apart. What? Okay. I just need to remake it. It's fine. We lost one bit of punch on tin foil. Let's remake it. Yeah, so it only lasted a turn. It lasts really for a really short while. Remake it. Thank you. And there goes all my action points. Can you put it inside your inventory? Hopefully it lasts longer in there. It lasts longer. Come on. Okay. Take a step. Is it falling apart again? Nope. Get in there. The wood on which you walk is a vanishing one. Besieged by dirt and grass, cracked concrete leads you through a pattered wood of pine and aspen, while dense ghost-white mist whirls in and out of an earthen darkness. The air bites colder here. A flagpole emerges from the grey canvas before you, flying no flag at its peak. You soon reach a great wall made of lines and jersey barriers, defending a tall and sturdy gate, fortified by the wreckage of cars that once rammed the barricade. It seems that at one point quite a few people became desperate to return to the base. You find their bones right where they left. To one side, a derelict sign reads Camp Grading. The main gates of the military base are a daunting sight to behold, heavy with purpose and impregnability. While there's no shortage of perches for climbing, the sheer number of variety of corpses heaped upon between the double barricades suggests that breaking to Camp Grading won't be that easy. A fine mesh fence continues through the woods on either side of the gates, just clearing the tree line. To your right, the fence skirts a path that leads down to a body of water. To your left, it runs deep into a dark forest, foreboding and beckoning at the same. Let's go to the forest. Walking between a dense spread of trees and the electrified fence, you look for places where you might climb and leap over. But it's as if the forest knows where Grayling's boundaries are, fearful of disobeying. Deep within Camp Grayling, eerie lights weave through the fog, punctuated by an occasional sound that's as much vaguely machine-like as it is animalistic. Soon you see it. 3 gigantic spheres-like structures dotted with lights along the tops. Something dark crosses your view. You look down, a look of horror hangs on the wide-eye, rotting face of a woman caught on the other side of the fence, as if trying to flee. The back of her head, neck and arms are all charred to the bone. You see a handful of bodies along the inner grounds. Every inch of their skin facing towards the base is burned to all hell. Beyond them, you see antenna-mounted pylons, wordlessly gloating over their likely handiwork, daring you to come. Further ahead, the end of the fence line turns inward, just before a vast and vile-looking swamp. Even the woods don't dare to invade you in, and you'd be a sitting duck trying to wade through it. Luckily, you may not have to. You found several places where the electrified mesh fence is practically cut. Any amount of prolonged contact would be pure agony, but with the right tool and every inch of your threshold for pain, you might just get through. All that's left is the choosing. Let me first check my things. I'm gonna put on the poncho. Okie dokie. Looks amazing. Let's just hold the dogman fur coat. Look into the base grounds. The pylons you see forming a perimeter beyond the fences are much clearer now. However, that doesn't help in identifying them. They almost look like radar towers, but they aren't moving. 3 white orb structures dwarf several buildings in the foreground, a small shed, an air traffic control tower, and an enormous hangar and a barracks. That's going to be important to know. We have to know these 4 buildings, where they are in relation to each other. We're supposed to go into the barracks to get an ID. And the hangar is where the entrance for the base is, I think. Beyond that, the long runways stretch between even more hangars. You catch a glimpse of what they likely hold: unmanned aerial vehicles. A couple of small, sleek drones sit here and there, some crashed, others relegated to the mercy of the elements. The rest, you'd guessed, likely sit safely inside. There's not a living soul in sight. The dead, however, are readily available for company. Your outside camp grading is an energized perimeter. A fine mesh fence warns of high voltage and barbed coils line the top. Let's cut it through. Cut through one of the spots. With everything you've been through, the first few cuts through the electrified mesh fence chip off a little from your resolve, but after 10, 20, 30, it becomes difficult to ignore the vicious tingling, the spreading sting, the sensation of skin pulling and twisting against itself. You sweat with anticipation before each cut and pause for relief after. The simple task of cutting a few wires has grown into an increasingly gargantuan task. Eventually, after a grueling test of your resolve, you decide that that's it. That's good enough. A few kicks and the fence folds over. As the fence opens, you feel the area of white-hot pain intermittently, and you recoil. The sensation disappears when you move from the opening, and as soon you discover that the pain seems to come from within the facility. Fortunately, after some tentative testing, it appears your attire mostly shields you from it. Go! Use the foil. Bracing yourself, you push through the breach in the fence and start walking. 10 seconds later, all you felt are a few hot touches through the vulnerabilities of the foil covering your bodies. Joints, holes, and so on. You keep your back to the emitter to protect your face. It's really working. The signal from the emitters are bouncing right off you. You stand in victory and raise your arms. You know you shouldn't, and you're facing the wrong way anyway. Is that all you got? You yell, and you don't regret it. When you regain your good sense, you make your way quickly across the field, still careful to keep your face covered from the octagonal emitter of the turret. The hits of microwave radiation may be small, but severe pain in small doses is still severe pain. Meanwhile, your protective foil is tearing with every movement you make. By the time you wear out your foil poncho's durability, you've cleared the turret's range. Most of your getup is in shreds behind you, the rest unusable, clings to your body. You pluck off the foil hat and shrug the rest off, no reason to look like an idiot anymore. Before you can go on, squeaking and servos echoes from behind you, drawing your attention back to the fences. A belt-wheeled drone is positioning itself by your handiwork. With skinny limbs, the mesh is spliced and patched. A moment later, the repair bot is trundling back into its access trench like nothing happened. Given how long it takes to cut through the fence, even without a turret at your back, it's clear that going out the way you came in would mean death most painful. You'll have to find another way. For now, the grounds of Cape Grayling await. The dense mist coils around the base ethereal lights. Every step peels back the white curtains, bit by bit, as you cross into a central area flanked by several looming structures. The 3 megalithic spheres consider you from beyond them, and the far side of the base. Like a hand consider an ant in its palm. As you near the center, a wall of mist thickens before you, reclaiming everything into obscurity. Your only sense of direction is culled from the array of lights shearing through the haze, forming eerie constellations you can almost reach out and touch. You press on. One by one, your steps reveal buildings, some small, some of the size of giants. You stand at the epicenter of Camp Grayling. A vast central area opens up before you, awash in blind white halogen and ghostly clouds, menacing, silent, and otherworldly. From the swirling gray, unmoving shadows climb out of their wombs and assume their true forms. Various buildings surround the central area. Your eyes are drawn to the nearby storage shed first. This is important. Your eyes are drawn to the nearby storage shed first. Farther out stand an air traffic control tower, a barrack, and a maintenance hangar. But there's one figure that demands more of your attention, as do its 4 siblings behind it. With heavy bone-crushing thuds on the corpse-littered tarmac, they tread on 6 spider-like legs. All too familiar orthogonal emitters are mounted on their backs, and they're coming for you. So if we had the doll at this point, we could use it, but we don't. Instead, we're gonna run for cover towards one of the surrounding buildings. And remember, is it in here? The nearby shed? The nearby storage shed. Run for cover. Smartly recognize the futility of going up against the VMADs. I don't know what that... ADS is still the automatic defense system. VM, maybe M means machine, V, virtual, I don't know. However, the barrack towers and hangar lie beyond them, and the machine could not look more territorial if they tried. What you need to do is get indoors, and fast, but where? The nearby storage shed. You bolt towards the storage shed. The VMADs follow you, their emitters locked on. You feel a blast of burning run across your skin, mounting with every step. When you push through it, you manage to make it to the door of the shed before it gets too bad. You seal yourself inside and the pain subsides. You can still hear the VMADs outside circling, stalking, taunting. In contrast to the base outside areas, the interior of the storage shed is a small sanctum of darkness absolved of fog, extending only half a dozen yards in either direction. Sounds from the VMADs outside ring loud, however, never allowing you to forget they're here. Along the walls, you see little that you can use. A few rotting pieces of wood laying in splinters, pallets in another lifetime, cracked with grime and dirt. But there's hope. The lone downlighter in the shed draws your eye down. It's illuminated cone. There's an old forklift there. Check out the forklift. Leave. That's a bad idea. A thick layer of dust covers every surface, though it does nothing to hide the rust peeling up from the black and green paint job. The heavy-duty frame would give you some assurance for safety if it weren't for the cab being wide open from all sides. Still, it might be good for something. You sit inside and give the ignition a try. Despite appearances, she still moves. Unfortunately, the forklifts have never been known for moving very fast. What's more, the shed's main door won't budge. If this forklift is going to get outside, it'll have to be by breaking them down. Hanging onto the wall behind you is a rope. Look around the storage shed. Wrigley to drive itself outside. Drive it. I'm not gonna drive it myself because he just said the cab is open from all sides. Look around the storage shed. Encounter as the base, nothing. Check out the forklift. Rig the forklift to drive itself out of the shed. Taking the rope from the wall, you're relieved to find that there's enough to rig the forklift to drive itself. You fasten the length from the console to a bar, just above a worn-out "Do you even lift, bro" sticker. All it needs is for you to start it up and point in the right direction. In the meantime, you'd get some cover from the VMADs at least until they flank you. It's not going to be a fun ride along. In fact, you're sure the pain will almost be unbearable. What you're counting on is that very word, almost. Up this, I were to go. I want to go to the barracks, I think. And then from the barracks to the maintenance hangar. We can only go to 2 of the 3 locations. I want to go to the barracks for the ID because that's what the Hatter told us to do. As you loop the rope through it, the forklift controls your nerves flare up at the top of the octagonal emitters, all raining down on you in invisible fury. Bleh. But this is the only way. One more knot and she's ready. You fire her up, and with no further instruction, she charges forward the doors and bursts onto the tarmac. You hide for as long as you can behind the vehicle's frame, opposite the VMADs. But in moments you realize there's no hiding from them. Their eyes are everywhere. The forklift barrels along at about 10 miles per hour, you'd guess, and it's the last coherent thought you have before the searing pain consumes you. It takes everything you have to just cling to your clunky ally. The forklift crashes into the side of the building and tips over. You won't be using it anymore. With your latched ounces of strength, you make a run for the door, screaming through the burns you've already sustained from the slow journey. Seconds away from crumbling to your feet, you make it inside the barracks. Double bunk sections the large hall into quarters with single bunks and makeshift mattresses strewn around the ground. Given everything you've walked through on the base, you've nearly forgotten what most of the rest of Michigan looks like outside the wilderness, ravaged by abandoned. This place looks almost lived in, if it weren't for dust. Many of the overhead lights are dead, but there's enough for you to make your way through the mess. A handful of beds are immaculately made. Near the entrance, a set of file cabinets have been dragged in. At the other end, a bathroom. Hiding. Check the file cabinet for a hiding spot. Okay. Look around the file cabinet for something that may have been hidden away. The back underneath them slipped into the files. You lift out the cabinet's contents in case something may have fallen through. Nothing. Could be looking in the wrong direction. Taking out the top drawer, you feel around the top of the cabinet. Wedged into the corner, you find a household cylinder key scented with an odd smell. Cylindrical key. Okay. I'll take that. Ignore the fact that I'm dying of the super plague. I've survived it once, we can survive it again. Double bunk section the large hall into quarters with single bunks and makeshift mattresses strewn around the ground. Yeah. And for the bathroom, look to the file cabinets, examine the beds. You search the beds for anything worthwhile, but find no valuables. Instead, it seems that only ghosts have lived here, not the living. The living keep tokens, only the dead stop caring. You reach a perfectly made bed. On a hunch, you flip up the mattress. A torn page from a diary hides under it. It reads, "The other call me OCD and laugh all they want. Discipline is a part of your training, and whatever infrastructure crumbles away, that's my backbone. Some things are worth fighting for. Isn't that the reason we're still maintaining this base? To maintain some sense of order in this chaos?" Sean never mocks me, though. Even without words, all he says is, "I love you." You replace the page. Keep looking. You continue on through the disheveled beds until you come across another neatly made one. Under it hides another dirty diary page. I get more bricks now than I used to. Much as a part of me hates it. As much a part of me hates it, I have a duty just like everyone else here. I shouldn't use him as an excuse, neither should they. I make the best of it, though. More time to write, more time to hide it from prying eyes. He's always so quiet when he's with me. I feel such ease around him, and that's becoming a rare thing these days. I keep thinking it couldn't possibly get worse, and then it does. There's talk of abandoning the base altogether, but how could we? People are depending on us, on me. Check the remaining made bed. At the third tidied bunk, and as expected, another entry. Major said it was a done deal. We're running thin as it is, and there's less and less to protect up here. People are fleeing to the south, but I fought hard with him on it. Eventually, I convinced him. It said it will just be going on a supply run, no more than a day. We'll protect Crawford County yet. I know how dangerous it is to cross the woods. He's always quiet in my arms here, but no, not elsewhere. We can't take the risk. Anyhow, it's only for a day. I'll leave half of my pendant with him, and all of my love. It's only for a day. It's only for a day. An ID card falls from the fold. Hey, ID card. I need that. Let's put back on the dogman fur coat. Maybe it'll protect us from the radiation. Maybe not. So we've checked the beds. Look through the file cabinets. Shuffle through various schematics, building plans, and base layouts, and the drafts of each mixed together. Personnel file adds some variation to the jumble records, taking away more of the hour to sort through. You come across one file from a Corporal Stanley Kaisom, dishonorably discharged. You're not sure why he stands out from the rest. You can place him, but there's a lingering recognition there, like you've studied that face and depended on it. You got one of the more interesting documents before moving on. Blueprints of the VMAD system. Worth $200. Okay. Head for the bathroom. It first seemed like the communal bathroom lights had been turned off, but as you approach, you see a flickering outline along the inner fringes of the door frame. You stand in front of it, listening to the quiet click, click, click of the light, a testament to how quiet it is. Despite the space's potential for echoing, you can't explain it, but you shiver when you reach the front door. It's locked. I can pick the lock or use the key. Let's use the key. As the door creaks open, you freeze in place. The light flickers on and off. A black mass directly opposite of you. Whited eyes pointing to your own, snarling teeth, and the bones of its ribcage protruding from its furry chest. As the flashes continue, you piece together an image of the dog man, starved to death and partially burned on half of his body. The inner side of the door is weakly scratched, a far cry from what these creatures are capable of. Glass shards scatter at its feet. Above, a narrow window lies broken. You find traces of vomit near its mouth, and a dried puddle in front of it with hints of brown. There, shining in brief moments of light, is a green half-heart necklace. Oops. I guess it's time to leave. Being outside, you have but a few seconds to make your next move before the VMAD spin you. The tower is closest with a hangar beyond. Well, the tower is closest, so we're going for the tower. Even the tower is far enough away that you doubt you'd make it alive. Run through them to the storage shed. Control tower. Player may not be able to take much more exposure to ADS emission. A moment of rushing air and fear is all you experience before the VMADs lock onto you, bending your entire body in white-hot pain. You nearly stumble when it hits, but set your jaw and plod onward. This may be the most excruciating pain you've ever felt, but this wouldn't be the first time you've toughed through the hurt. You step into the tower's door, clanging at the handle. And as the door opens, you feel the burning trails off until the door slams behind, leaving you in darkness and throbbing aches. Jeez. The control tower begins as a triangular enclosure at its base. Red emergency lights spread out across the walls and floor. You see no trace of the main light, or anything else of note. Hollowness haunts this place, as much as it holds the rest of the camp grailing. As the tower's spine, an elevator lies dead at the bottom of the shaft, mired in darkness. A spiral staircase trails along the wall, high up to where you can no longer see. Well, let's go. The control tower landing. You find yourself on the first and only landing in the tower, up 7 stories from the ground. A spiral of red lights goes on forever until into the almost endless dark below. Above you hear faint electronic noises. Before you is a door with the letter MER on its front. Open it. You try the door. It budges, just enough for you to know that it isn't locked. It seems there's a barricade on the other side. You peer through the crack. All you see are walls of flickering yellow lights against a space of purest black. When you listen closely, you hear something. A rhythmic sound. A rising and falling. A cold chill runs down your back when you realize you're hearing breaths. Call out to it? That might be a bad idea. You call to whoever is inside. The only response to rhythmic breath stopping. Outside, faint pounding of mechanical legs can still be heard, but nothing in there. After a few moments of quiet, the breathing resumes. Nothing else happens. You close the door again. Try not to think about it. Okay. Control room. The stairs end at a circular room surrounded by tall and wide windows, the very top of the control tower. Around the ceiling hangs an imperfect array of dimming off-white lights, pinpointing each area of responsibility with stage-like gravitas. The monitors and keys at about half of the workstations appear active, also situated towards the center in the front. Binders and files stack high at the center table, in varying states of chaos. Outside, the mist seems to have thinned somewhat, just enough for you to see the ghost base over which you're standing. See, look at that, hacking still comes in. See if we can disable those VMADs bots. Check out the view. Check out the view. There's a lot to see around you. Which way do you look? Look to the south. You peer through the dark glass towards the southern skies. The air clears up towards the south, opening a direct line of sight to a piebald Landscape of forest, plains, and ruins. The tales elude you, but the absence of humans make itself known well enough. To the east. You peer through dark glass toward the eastern skies. Traveling in pack, dogmen make their way through a clearing of woods. A few of them stop to drink from a pond. Then they lope back towards the rest, from clear forms back into the blur of black shadows. They're heading west. Okay, check out the west. No, check out the west. Check out the west. You peer through the dark windows. Nestled deep within dense forest appear to be a few domes on towers, smaller than the trio of giant spheres from the base. They form a perimeter, but you can't make out nothing between or beyond them. And north. You peer to the thick form flower farmer's barricade of sort. The farthest you can still see is Lake Margaret Heath, a massive body of colorless black water as still as glass. Lake Margaret Heath. Lake Margaret? Is that one of the Great Lakes? I don't think so. That doesn't sound like one of the Great Lakes. Let me see. Hudson, Superior, Ontario, and two others. Maybe one of them is Margaret. Go back to the control room and see if we can use the powers of hacking to disable the VMAD bots. The VMAD's bot. Bleh. You look over the workstation for any signs of what controls those VMADs. Unfortunately, it looks as if they're coordinated from some other location. Most of the stuff up here is for human-operated vehicles. What you do find, however, is a security request system. Operators in this tower could apparently request a security check in specified sector of the base, probably in response to or anticipation of activity seen from the tower. Skimming the logs for past examples, you start composing a new request. Then you check the windows for possible sectors. Given the base layout, there's a few choices. You can probably draw some extra attention to the far side of the barracks, giving you a chance to dart into the maintenance hangar. That's about it. All other routes are too exposed. You want to submit a request? Yes, please. I want to go inside the maintenance hangar. That's the last place we have to go to. You finish inputting the sector and event codes and hit submit. It looks like it went through okay, so you check the windows to be sure. After a few moments, it's clear the search patterns of the VMAs are adjusting to your submitted request, and if you hurry down, you can probably reach the maintenance hangar safely. Let's go! Leave. Leave harder. Leave harder. Stepping outside, you have about a few seconds to make your next move. To the hangar. Momentarily safe from your mechanical pursuer, you hurry across the tarmac to the maintenance hangar. Hey, huzzah, we made it. You stand in awe at the impossible space folded inside the hangar. The walls and rafters seem to recede at your approach, easing into shadows of infinity. You shudder to think what was once housed there. No mere aircraft, surely. Something much bigger. Whatever it is, it has left. A grand vacuum meekly filled by a small, unmanned aerial vehicle in the center. Evidently midway through repairs, dwarfed by the pyramid of ghostly light in which it rests. Nearby a maintenance hatch on the floor lies open. Check your things. Examine the UAV. The lone UAV, unmanned air vehicle, I think that's what it means, looks to have been sitting in disuse for some time. It's much larger up close. White-tipped wings extend out from a once shiny body that is the color of onyx, with a thin flourish of blue on each fin in its Y-shaped tail. A weapons bay at its heart lies exposed and empty. A side panel hangs open, a clear void in the circuitry for something flat and rectangular. There's a shipping crate here, with packing materials cushioning a circuit. Discounting the missing parts, it doesn't appear to be damaged. You see no reason this drone was singled out from the others on the base either. Okay. Explore the hatch. Tiny green maintenance lights lead your eyes deep into the earth, down a tight crawl space beneath the hatch. A rush of air drifts upward, smelling of silicon and copper, of thermoplastics and tin, that have beginnings and ends. You see nowhere else to go but into darkness. You carefully ease yourself down, catching one last glimpse of the surface, in case it's your last. Climb down. The concrete tunnel grows intent with sealing you in, tightening its grip around you. With each rung you descend, you lose count of how many times your knees and elbows scrape against the sides. You reach a point where neither up or down seem to have an end, and you're convinced you've found yourself in a new kind of hell. But like so many times before, you press on. There's too much at stake. You lower your foot, expecting to find more ladders, but it's floor that meets your expectation. The air feels entirely different, is deep down warmer, more arid. You step off the rungs, expecting a whole other world. You walk forward, and blue-white lights rise like an ancient tide. In concentric rings around you, rows upon rows of 6 feet high CPUs extend as far as the hangar above. You hear the endless exhale of vents and internal fans. The LED lights cycle and flicker and stare. In front of you, a path leads straight down to a curved desk on a raised platform, immaculately crafted and beholden only to the great black mirror before it. You seat yourself on a black leather chair, in reach of a sleek-looking keyboard, anchored to the desk's center. The giant monitor looms ahead. Against its onyx abyss, pale white text blares on the unintelligible sequences. A jitter wipes it away until letters by letter a single word takes its place. Black-white. Black-white online, a voice says. At the bottom of the screen, the outline of a thin rectangle stretches across. Pixels of white start to fill its inner void, left to right, with the slowness of nightfall. Smith credentials remain active. Unsealed are 1.16 exabytes of data. What will user Smith review? The base artificial intelligence black-white idles with a blinking cursor beckons for a command. The keyboard on the desk shimmers in the screen's dim glow. Everything you've come across in your journey through Michigan floods your mind. Every question, every puzzle, every mystery. Along the monitor's lower edge, the status bar steadily continues to fill. You may not get all your answers. Yes, now we have a limited amount of time to do stuff. Let's get my user credentials, create black-white, use the ID card, insert the bug, cam grading, Philip, Neo, basically hacking. See if you can escape your user credentials. It's an unfamiliar system, but you see some hints that betray the kernel's origins. Maybe some of your old tricks still work. You have that down there. Black-white stacks process is 20%. User access elevated until end of session. At the lower edge of the monitors, the status bar slows. You've bought yourself some time. It continues. Okay, let's go insert. I'm gonna go with ask about Bertrand Ferris. And 40%. Dang it. I don't think it slowed down anything. An icon resembling an eagle clutching a key rotate at the center of the screen. You harbor few doubts about black-white search. Reach. If anything can tell you about the faceless man you saw in a retrieved memory, it'll be this machine, now moments away from telling you who wiped your mind and froze your body in a tube, mere moments. The eagle vanishes. Found one exact match. Record of one Bert Ferris crossing the Indiana state border into Michigan in a dark blue sedan with plates. No other digital records of the individual can be found. Black-white loads a map of Michigan state, and on it begins to draw a path through several cities. North to Sturgis, then east to Coldwater, northeast to Jackson, and finally east to Ann Arbor. Until the last stop, the driver never spends more than a day at each location. 3 days after arriving, the path continues north to Brington, then Burton, and comes to rest at Saginaw. An on-screen prompt indicates that a week later the vehicle was stowed away. The progress bar marches on. Let's use the ID card and insert the bug. With the ID card in hand, you find a tin chip reader on the far side of the keyboard. Recognize new user. Staff Sergeant Linda F. Reyes. Enter password. Sean. Staff Sergeant Lydia F. Reyes. Credential actives. Welcome, Lydia. The status bar pauses and resets. Huzzah. In case we were at the last end, just so we can answer the bug and enter the bug. Let's ask about NEO, New Earth Ostracon. Black-white's glassy face seems to darken. New Earth Ostracon, it says. The NEO was an online repository of information concerning the occult, which rapidly gained popularity worldwide between the years 2014 and 2017. The colloquially termed Wiki comprised of supposed eyewitness accounts of paranormal events, conspiracies, and fringe science discoveries. Entries included times and dates of sightings. All users had editors' rights and were free to contribute contents, which grew the site exponentially. 10 curators with administrative rights to the NEO have been identified in the US. After a security violation was traced to these curators, various agencies of the United States government formed a task force to apprehend these individuals on the charge of espionage. The NEO was subsequently shut down, although its users reportedly created mirror sites to keep it alive. You are querying NEO as black-white's progress bar ticks away. Security violation, 10 curators. Perpetrator, violation components. Violation components. The comparison algorithm was developed by the NAS. Its purpose to analyze was vast amounts of communication data in order to extrapolate common patterns and deduce the presence of national threats and terrorist plots prior to execution. Input can take the form of multiple formats in any and all known human languages. Coded communications can also be deciphered at runtime. The output of the algorithm includes lists of personal interest, potential targets, possible scenarios, suspected factions coordinating attack. The native dataset includes a CNCI MDR dataset. Foreign dataset estimated to be many times smaller. Return to home screen. Let's ask one new question. Query CNCI MDR. After that, we're going to enter the bug and run. The Comprehensive National Cybersecurity Initiative is a multi-agency security initiative. The Mission Data Repository is the central data store. The MDR is maintained by the NSA and is located at the Camp WG Williams in Utah. Better find some decent walking shoes. Insert the bug. Hello! To the side of the black desk, you find a panel to open an array of ports, only half of which you can recognize. On the lower end, USB, Firewire, HDMI, VGA, headset audio jacks, ancient history. With a bug device in hand, you check it against the other slots, passing row after row. At the very top corner, you find the heptagon-shaped port that looks to have never been used. This is the one. The promise of Hatter's Client conjures image of a whole new life to mind. You'd leave behind the wastelands, the dangers, the fear. What could be more important than living? With a deep breath, you slide the bug into place. The on-screen status bar stops dead. Unrecognized process detected, it says in an erratic voice, shifting octave between one word to the next. Everything on the monitor is erased, the light shut off. A deeper quiet filled the room. Attempting. Its voice trails off, leaving you alone in darkness. When the scream comes again, its lights bathe in the space around you into a sanctuary of mortal red. An insignia curdles blacks on the screen. It's a partially open eye, in case the lower half of the globe as it is. Whoa. A partially open eye, encasing the lower half of a globe as its iris, while a sun at mid-rise is painted over the eyelid. That's pretty detailed. But the way the rays and lashes curl is as if the world's on fire. An eerie, fractured voice speaks, a conglomeration of people. Another minute of the night is expelled, and we are the hour of the brighter dawn drawing near. For your contribution, our gratitude undying is yours. The deafening alarm sounds. To claim the base, we must purge it. Run now, citizen, if you wish to see the daylight come. Run or stay forever in the night. With fury blasting through the base, you knock back your chair and run desperately for the exit. You escape the desk in the last possible moments. Walls of glass shoot up from the ground and seal the terminal, sending you your back foot and throwing you against the floor with a hard and painful thud. On your feet again, you keep running. You don't look back. The next thing you know, you've returned to the concrete shaft, squeezing back up towards the surface. One by one, the emergency lights below you shut down. Darkness wells up from the depths of the earth, and you're caught in its warpath. What will you even do? The VMADs on the surface will be out in full force, and who knows what new horrors await alongside the ADS turrets and energized fences. But there has to be a way to escape, there has to be. Cam Grayling's war cry shatters the air. Alarm's light pulses red, drawing in the walls of the hangar to surround you. Its vast emptiness only serves as a paper fortress. Your options are few. Crossing the hangar, you make your way to the side door. The VMADs have gained reinforcements, and they dominate the grounds, patrolling at a faster pace than before. The thoughts of slipping past them crosses your mind, but as if the base's sensor catch wind of it, the VMADs immediately turn to face you. You send to shut the door, not on foot. Nearly lost in swelling of red, the cone of pale light still directs to your eyes. The AAV. I think you mean the UAV. You estimate that you can just fit into the empty weapons bay. You'd be shielded from the VMADs, but they can outweight you. Maybe this thing could still fly? Could you escape inside it? Even so, no machine can run without all its parts, and the square absence in the drone's exposed side panel hangs agape. Is that crate holding you the right part? The hangar door hums to life, creeping open. Your time may be up. Pulling the PCB from the packing material, you return to the AAV. Alarms rage, seconds slips away. The VMAD's death squads awaits the hangar door with predatory patience. A purr catches in your throat. It's just you here. You and death. With the PCB slotted in, the drones breathe once more, and a shrill whine of life in its engine's lungs. It throttles up. Enduring sections of the hangar doors groan through decades of rust as they ease open. VMADs now marching through. You climb inside the drone, and it starts gaining momentum across the floor of the hangar, closer and closer towards the deathly gaze of the VMADs. You dare not hazard a look, but you can hear the crushing steps grow louder, and then distant again as the AAV taxis outside. It turns almost in place and then catapults down their runway. You take flight. The AAV sails through the mist, higher and higher above Camp Grayling. Frost seeps into the air. Without any way to fasten yourself, you push hard against the sides. It goes inside the machine, clinging desperately to the shell. The drone levels out before reaching much of an altitude. It turns. When it feels safe to poke your head, you see that you're headed south. North past the tail fin, you see a small base silhouetted in red emergency lights. The three spheres of Grayling standing helpless against the escape of their prey, and the endless darkness swallowing up all of Michigan. You lie back again and look up to the dense clouds of stars you cannot see. Oh, you stutter awake. No, it hasn't all been a dream. You're still sinking in the AAV as its payload when a sudden jerk washes you from the slumber of trauma-induced exhaustion. When you look out the top, all you can see of your former surrounding is a lake of mist far to the north, below the great black swamp. To see it sprawl from east to west, an antithesis to life, the necrosis of civilization, is a haunting view beneath. Another crack accompanies a smell of burning plastic as you duck into your compartment again. The engines are failing, and there's a ragged whistling noise coming from the tail. The drone is no longer flying, but in a controlled fall. You hazard a peek outside. More and more of the swamp passes below. You glide past the rotting lands, the sinking roads, the crumbling buildings, the toxic fumes. or you're falling too fast to make a full crossing. You duck inside and embrace with the inevitable. It's fine, we already have exposure to the defoliant, and we have the super plague, so it can't be any worse. The drone hits something hard, the weightless rebound ringing in your ears for a moment before smashing and grinding to what sounds like rocks in water. Parts rip away, and sludge sprays into the hold from the opening they leave. The fuselage twists suddenly, and it flips over, throwing you hard into a debris-filled pool. Wrenching metal and cracks of composite echo over the next mound, as the drone becomes just another part of the desolate landscape. In a fit of coughing, you crane your neck away from the sludge and pull yourself weakly into an embankment. For several wheezing moments, you cling to the air, gathering your senses. After more coughing, you plant a hand into cold mush, push the ground away, and you stagger to your feet. A brisk, acrid wind bites through your soaked clothes, and you turn your face away from it. Ahead, miles of lifeless, muddy terrain, punctuated by toxic pools and shells of old buildings. And beyond that, Indiana! Player is hungry, the murder race has already spawned, introduced to a hatter, you can see distance objects, skill to hand-to-hand combat, moderate load, high metabolisms, comfortable, tough, allow with hatter, trouble at staying asleep, well rest, thirst is slaked, I'm skilled in hiding, I've visited Zom, normal blood, not pain, immune system is healthy, hey that's good. Skill in trapping, shortness of breath and developing bluish spot on the... Yeah, that's the plague. The random diner, Haggerty health, augmentations, eye surgery, visited the DMC, I saw the raid footage of hatters, I visited the isotope mine, interacted with Stout, skilled in lockpicking and hacking, bank account, chaos address, police, wanted, the Skyback's blind spot, great security bank at the bank, the Skybag tracks via electronic devices. I'm beginning to transformation into a Wendigo, which means I've eaten some human remains, probably in what's it called? At Zom's. Murga's Realm. Chaos Apartment forcefully. I didn't have the spoofing stuff. Stagenhaw. The creature coming down the hall was a dogman. Looter Conversation 1. DMC Guard Conversation. Michelle's Question. ATN. Intro task to Hatter. Received care at the ATN recently. Different exposure subsided temporarily. Regression therapy at Sagan Hall. Rollo in the illusion room. ETC. Three Frogs. Lisa. The Queen. Wearing a wrist wrap from the Gaga Squirrel facility. Been inside Sagan Hall. Something important about Sagan Hall. Papers, children's book, engravings, letters, film. Burning pain on their skin. That's because of the VMADs. The correct weekend section of Grading's fence. Good. Didn't know you could choose a wrong section. The Syndical Key, VMAT's Blueprints ID Badge, Barracks Room, I heard of CNCI, Neo Wiki, Hacking to skip the credential, ID card, I'm a super elusive and unstoppable, bogus security request, I saw the glow in the east, I've acted significantly more good than evil, yay. Ask Michelle a question about spirits I cannot ask again. Inserted the bug for Hatter's mission to Black-White AI at Grayling. Okay, so we finished Neo Scavenger for real this time. So when I start a new game tomorrow, we won't have any regrets. Anyway, see ya. Bye bye.